And I'm going to share it on my timeline so you can, if you want to.
Okay, yeah, I can share it out as well.
Okay. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Awakening Web Series, our regular Monday night meeting. I want to thank each of you for joining, and you know how we do it. I ask you to put your name in the feed, your first name, your last name. Tell us where you are from because we want to shout you out. So I am so excited tonight to continue the conversation on necessary endings, the employees, the businesses, the relationships that we all have to give up in order to move forward. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to give you some time so that you can share this out because this is something that you want to share out and you want others to hear and to be a part of. So share out as you're putting your first name, your last name in the feed, share it out because I'm excited to have my special guest, Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes on today. We are going to have a fantastic conversation around endings and necessary endings. So let me take some time and find myself here and forward this on to some folks that I know will be interested in as well. So Dr. Stephanie, how are you doing?
Oh,
Wonderful
I'm doing
evening.
fabulous.
Of course you are. That's
Right.
what you're all about, fabulosity.
That's right. That's right. And I'm sharing it out too. That's why I keep looking down here. I want to make sure I share it out and get some folks on the line as well.
All right, absolutely. Okay, sharing it to my group. Gotta share it to Wake Up, Rise Up, Live Up.
Yeah, I'm sharing it out here.
Awesome. All right, as you're coming on, whether you're live with us now or you're on the replay, put your first name, put your last name, and let us know where you're from, because I really want to shout you out, and I'm so, so excited that you are joining us this evening, or whatever time of day you're joining us. All right, let's get to rocking and a rolling here. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Sheila Reynolds, and I'm the founder of Wake Up, Rise Up, Live Up movement, where we help women to awaken to their power and to possess the life that they desire, deserve, and that they're destined for. And I'm also one of the hosts of this Awakening web series where we join in every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern to help you to move from where you are to where it is that you want to be. And we have been having some powerful conversations designed to awaken you and for you to have some aha moments and be able to move into all that you are called to move into and all that you desire, your dreams and your goals. So I'm excited tonight to have Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes with us. And we're going to continue the conversation on the book, Necessary Endings, the businesses, the relationships, the employees that we all have to give up in order to move forward. And last week, we had a conversation around embracing seasons and releasing cycles. And we talked about how endings are necessary and it's a normal part of life. And as we normalize endings, we can better be able to deal with things when it has to come to an end. We know that there is a time and a purpose and a season for everything. We talked about that. And we talked about, the life cycle. We're born, we move into being a little toddler and adolescents and senior citizens, and then there's a time that we're going to die. So there's a cycle to everything in life, and it's a part of our growth and our development. And we may grieve when we have to end things, but it is necessary for our growth. And we talked about some of the reasons why we don't want to end things. And we went through that and just kind of began to have a conversation around that. But tonight, we're going to be talking about pruning. We must prune in order to propel. That is the topic that we're going to be speaking on this evening. And Dr. Stephanie Barnes, so graciously, in her busy schedule, to come on and spend some time. And I promise you guys, you are going to be blessed. You are going to be enlightened by the wisdom that this woman shares, and your life is going to be changed. So I want to share a little bit about Dr. Stephanie before we get started here. So let me get to her bio, and I want to share with you so you can know who you are hearing from and what you are in store for. So I don't know if we've got anybody joining us, but I'll also check that at some point as well and say hey to y'all and thank you for joining us. So Dr. Stephanie, let me get your bio here.
Well, while you're doing that, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on the show. It's always great to connect with you.
Thank you.
It is so awesome that we get to talk about this topic today. I think it is so apropos. As I was sharing with Sheila right before the show, I feel like I'm in a pruning season. So this is just it's awesome how things work together.
Absolutely, because this is one of the reasons why I invited Dr. Stephanie on, because I heard her do and kind of like an impromptu live or whatever it was. You were sitting outside, amongst some beautiful trees, and you were just sharing, from your heart, but it was so powerful. The things that she shared about letting go. And I love Dr. Stephanie, and you'll see that as you listen to her, the practicality and the wisdom and just her way of putting things just really lands very powerfully in your soul and in your heart. So I'm really looking forward to presenting her to you. Those of you that know her, those of you that don't know her, your life will be changed by the things that she will share. So let me introduce to you Dr. Stephanie Barnes. Dr. Stephanie B. Barnes is an internationally recognized speaker, executive coach, business strategist, TEDx presenter, and media personality. Some of you might know her from the Black CEO Morning Show. She's a lot of fun, but she's a lot of power on there as well. Dr. Stephanie is the founder of the C-Suite Women's Network, where women become the CEO of their lives. She is a Harvard-educated lawyer and former corporate executive. Dr. Barnes coaches and transforms high-producing business leaders. Dr. Barnes has been featured in the Harvard Business Review, Personal Excellence Magazine, and the Huffington Post. Her mission is to get you to your C-suite. When you make the decisions to elevate your life and accelerate your revenue. I introduce and I welcome Dr. Stephanie Barnes to the Awakening Web series.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I'm just going to jump in here right quick. Let me see if we've got who we have that's joining us that might be, let me turn this down so I don't have any interference. Those of you out there that's listening to us, we have got Bev Jones with us, Dr. Stephanie. She says hello. Thank you for joining us, Bev. We have Joba Thomasina Bowie. Thank you so much for joining us. We have my newly found sister friend, Miss Laura Harver. I met her at the PNC. So welcome, Laura. You are in for a treat, my dear. And we've got Coco. She says, hello, ladies. Hello, Coco. We welcome you. And my friend, Selena. Thank you all so much for joining us. And as you have heard, the introduction to Dr. Barnes, she is a powerhouse of a woman and has had such an experience in her life and in her business. And I'm excited that she's here to share with us and just around the topic of we must prune in order to propel. So I want to just turn the floor over to Dr. Stephanie for a bit and just talk about pruning and the importance of pruning and how that resonates for you.
Yes. Well, when I was preparing for tonight, one of the first things that came to mind was something that a friend randomly shared that has been so profound. And it's an anonymous quote that basically says the trees are about to show us how lovely it is to let the dead things go.
Whoa, that's deep.
Isn't it? And I remember, when they shared this with me, I was in my kitchen at my former home in Huntsville, Alabama, that I shared with my ex-husband. It was our family home. And, it was in this transition period. And it's a friend from college, and we were just chit-chatting, randomly chit-chatting. And I don't even remember the context of how that statement came out, but when he said it, I was like, oh. Mm-hmm. Because if you think about it, it's I don't think it's funny, it's ironic, it's meant to be, it's cyclical. How the previous show you talked about seasons, and when we are in our lives, a lot of times we don't fully appreciate the value of seasons. And we can look to nature in so many ways. And, when you think about this statement, how the trees are about to show us how lovely it is to let the dead things go. And the trees aren't mourning their leaves. They aren't, belaboring the process. It is a part of the promise of renewal. And that's the beautiful thing about life, is that, when you truly embrace the concept, and it's not just some, it's proven, it's scientific, whether you are a believer or whether you're a scientist. I mean, in every spiritual, scientific explanation of life, there are seasons.
Yes.
And, it is so hard or so easy as humans, as living, breathing, organisms, to really ignore the fact that we are a part of nature. Because I think, being human, we become detached.
Yes.
We become disconnected from nature, and we can learn so much. And every year, global warming notwithstanding,
come on.
There's spring,
yes,
summer,
yes,
there's fall, there's winter. And, I don't care how you feel about winter and cold weather. Yeah. There's always, always, always the promise of spring.
Yes.
And that's what's so beautiful about being in a pruning season. And it's, again, I don't think it by chance that you invite me to this show while I'm in a pruning season. For those of you who don't know, I'm 45 years old and I'm basically starting all over again.
Yes.
I'm divorced after 21 years of marriage. I've been divorced for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
And, have recently moved. I've only been in the city that I live in now a little bit over a year.
Yeah.
And I literally have started all over again. And in many respects, I'm in a winter.
Mm-hmm.
I can look at it as I'm in a winter, or I can look at it as I'm in a pruning season. And, it's so ironic. Again, I hate to use that word. I do believe it by on purpose. It is so purposeful. I'm going to use that word. It's so purposeful. I just came back from a trip last week where I attended my sorority's boule, our biennial meeting.
Yes.
And it truly marks the end of a season for me.
Yes.
Of a cycle. I have committed years of service to my beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha. And, I go to this conference to complete a service obligation that I had. I served on the International Nominating Committee. Mm-hmm. And I could not help, though, while I was there, to reflect on kind of all that had changed. And the interesting thing is I went back to the city of Houston, which is where I began my legal career. And I began my legal career in 1997. I'm dating myself. Yeah, I'm 45. I'm proud of it. 45 and fabulous.
All right. Hey, I love it.
But I began my legal career, in Houston. That's where, shortly after my ex-husband and I were married, we moved to Houston. My life had all this significance. Houston had all of this significance. And let's see, 18 years ago, or about 15 years ago. Anyway, long time ago. I left Houston in 2004 when my ex-husband got a fellowship in Mississippi. And I didn't want to leave Houston. I loved Houston. I had some awesome friends, still have the friends.
Yeah.
Great life, promising. And, it kind of had this disruption in Mississippi. And so I'm going to wrap this up so I'm not just going on.
That's okay.
Because there's a point to this. I
believe you.
But while I was there in Houston at the boule, I really was in this contemplative state of mind where I thought about Houston as I left it and Houston after I returned. And of course, I'm returning to Houston. The marriage that I had is no longer there. The career that I had has transformed to something else. My family looks the same. I look different. I had black hair there. I got a little bit right now. But all these changes, these transformations had happened. And I really came face to face with my personal pruning season.
Yes.
Because as I reconnected with a couple of my girlfriends that were my day ones. I mean, one woman, we studied for the bar together back in the summer of 1997.
Wow.
So I studied for the bar with her in 1997. I'm studying for the Georgia bar now. Which is quite an experience at 45 after having practiced for 20-something years. But anyway, so it just really brings home this whole embracing. And I think that's the really important thing is that you have to embrace. Yep. You really have to embrace change. And, I love the name of the book, Necessary Ending.
Yes.
And, we don't want to think about endings as necessary. And it was necessary. I couldn't see it then. And still, can't say that I understand 100% now. But the necessary ending of that phase of my life there in Houston, the necessary ending of, kind of where I am, now in my personal life. But it's all about the process of pruning. And when you think about pruning and you go back to that original quote, how lovely it is to let the dead things go.
Yes. And that's such a powerful quote. And it's such a powerful perspective because it's all about our perspective. Because we talked about as we move into, this pruning thing, and as we transition from last week, those of you that joined us last week, we were really talking about normalizing necessary endings, and how we think about it. And it doesn't always feel good, but it's necessary for our growth. And if we can wrap our brain around and normalize it, it helps us to deal with the emotion that comes along with those endings. It doesn't mean that we won't experience those emotions, but being able to normalize the emotions behind what's happening to us. This is normal. This is necessary. For me to grow, I've got to go through this, and I've got to end this. And we talked about before the good can be, before the good can come, the bad has to end.
Yeah.
Okay? So your bad is ending. You're going through, and the bad is ending so the good can come.
Yeah. Right. And that's such a powerful concept to embrace. And again, I use that word repeatedly for a reason, because you truly have to embrace it. If you think about an embrace, I mean, it is, you are bringing someone something closer to you. So it is an inviting action. You're bringing someone into your most intimate spaces when you embrace. And it is so important for us to truly embrace the fact that bad things are going to happen to us. Just like winter is always going to come, bad things are going to happen. And this is one of the biggest things that I have to reorient myself about is, nothing's happening necessarily to me because I'm bad, or, I'm not during the have made some bad decisions, along the way. Who hasn't, right?
Absolutely.
But it's not that bad things are happening to me because the world is bad, but things that I don't like are happening just simply because that's the cycle of life,
That's right.
When you look at seasons, you're going to have rain. Because it's so funny today. I was in an area, let's see, 2 miles, 2.5, 3 miles, because that's not my running route. So I know it's 3 miles. 3 miles away from me, when I left the building before I returned to my home office, pouring down rain like buckets, like the bottom had fallen out. I get to my house 3 miles away, sun's out.
Exactly.
No rain. I mean, it was so bad I had to take, because I didn't bring my umbrella in, I had a cardboard box over my head just to get to the car. And I get home 3 miles away. Sunshine. And so, that's kind of, and that's just natural.
Yes.
And it's not that that's a bad part of town, or or that was something bad. That's just life. And that's what we have to truly embrace, is that bad things are going to happen. Bad outcomes are going to happen. We're going to encounter bad people.
That's right.
Whatever.
That's right.
But it's part of life, which is why it is so important, again, to embrace the power of pruning, because pruning is a deliberative action.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
If you think about a gardener, now I got a brown thumb.
A brown
bamboo. All right. And it's because I love plants, love flowers.
Yeah.
I kind of don't water them.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. So anyway, I have a brown thumb, but I appreciate gardening. Okay. But the thing that you have to remember, if you think about pruning, it is a deliberative act, meaning because trees don't prune themselves.
That's right.
Plants don't prune themselves. It takes action, and it's careful, because you don't just cut off. You don't just cut randomly. You cut away the dead things. You cut away the yellow leaves, and then the even the green leaves you cut purposefully.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
the shape, you need to not weed out, but you need to, give greater space.
Yes.
So, but it's a pruning. Pruning is a deliberative act, and that's what we have to embrace as a powerful part of our lives.
Very
Because,
good.
as a plant, if you want to think of us, each of us as a plant, we can either just stand there and let the seasons pass and, our little leaves fall off, whatever happens, we get some water when we get some water, whatever, or we can be deliberative.
That's good. That's good.
We can embrace the power and prune away.
Yes. And I left my bell today because I have a bell. I forgot my bell. It's somewhere around here when you're saying profound things. So this is my imaginary bell. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Dr. Stephanie, I got to stop because I think that is so profound. And I want those that are listening to hear that. And I want to park there and I want to unpack that. Because what you said is so true. It's intentional. When we prune, we're talking about pruning. We must prune in order to propel. And Dr. Cloud in Necessary Endings, he uses an analogy of a rose bush and a gardener. And then he applies that to our life and our business as a rose bush. And pruning, let me read you this definition.
Sure.
Pruning is to trim by cutting away dead or overgrown branches or stems, especially to increase fruitfulness and growth.
Yes.
And just what you said, and I love this chapter. I get excited about it because it's so powerful. Yeah. Because in order to grow, we have to do some things that are intentional. And I want to begin to unpack some of that with you, Dr. Stephanie. I want to share 3 things, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you because I want us to continue this pruning. And for those of you that are listening to us, we thank you. We want you to share this video out, because this is some powerful stuff. Because those of you that are joining, I am assuming that you too want to grow, that perhaps you are in a pruning season. Perhaps you're like Dr. Stephanie, you're in a winter season. You're going through some transitions and some changes. And all of this is designed to help you to grow. There's a lesson in everything that we're going through. And we want to be able to learn that. We want to be able to maximize that. So I want you to share this out, and I want you to provide your feedback to what we're talking about in the feed. We must prune in order to propel. I want you to write that in the feed. We must prune in order to propel. And so we're talking about pruning being intentional. And let me share things with you guys from the book. And Dr. Stephanie is going to give us some insight and feedback from her perspective, which has been profound already. And we 7:30 into this thing, girl. You see what I'm saying? Time flies. Okay. So the gardener intentionally, just like you said, Dr. Stephanie, and purposefully cuts off branches and buds that fall into any and of the 3 categories. This is how the gardener that is pruning a rose bush determines what's going to be pruned. Number 1, he prunes healthy buds or branches that are not the best ones, okay? Because the rose bush, has so many roses and so much is growing. It's too much life. He has to decide between the best ones. They still may be good, but he has to prune away even the good ones because they're taking up space. Come on, I know you hear me and getting revelation. You're going to talk to me now. And then the second one, you want to talk, and then you want to talk.
I wait. I'm like playing double dutch.
I know, when can I come in? Because I can stop on that one, then I can let you respond, and then we go to the second one. What do you want to do, Dr. Stephanie?
That is such a profound revelation. I will call it a revelation because I think one of the most difficult things, especially for women, because we tend to be really committed to relationships and nurturing. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, I just talk for myself. One of the most difficult things in the past, during my pruning season, has been to, I wouldn't say sever certain relationships, but some of them I had to just straight
cut. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
some I did have to just straight cut.
That's right.
Because I think some relationships you cut, some you untie, and some transform.
Yes, I like that.
Some of them you sever, you cut, some of them you untie, some of them transform. And that's been the most difficult thing because, I'm in this new season of my life. And I was sharing with my girlfriends in Houston this past week as I feel very disconnected because I'm in this social purgatory. I'm not completely connected to where I used to live and where my community that I've had for many years. And I've moved 3 times in the past 2 years. So I didn't really establish roots in the community where I was before. And I'm here in my new community, and purposefully in some respects, but also just by, because I have not been intentional in making those deep connections, I'm not connected here. And so, but it's really difficult when you go back to familiar spaces, or when you think about familiar places and you want to go back to the way you were, but you've transformed, you've changed.
Yes.
It's because even though I just, use the analogy with me and my girlfriends, we've known each other since 1997.
Yes.
Just over 20 years.
Yes.
But the relationship that we have now is different than the relationship we had in 97. And even though in many respects, when we get back together, it's like I never left.
Yes.
In other respects, we're a world apart just because our families have changed, our careers have changed. Have changed. And, and because of that, these are great people. And even the community that I lived in for about 11 years before my pruning season started, great people. Yeah. But we don't fit together like we used to fit before. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean either of us is bad, but it's just transformed.
Absolutely.
The relationship, the experience, the connections are different.
That's right.
And we have to be, I want to get the right word. Courage is one of the words. We have to have the courage, and we have to really, again, embrace the responsibility to cut away the people who are not the best for us. Because one of the things that I always have to realize and share this with coaches, with the clients that I coach, whether it is on the business or the personal side, all good people are not good for you.
That's good. Hey, somebody put that in the feed.
Ring a bell.
That's it. That's right. Not all good people are good
for you.
And those are some of the most challenging decisions. And again, we're talking about pruning. It's not like there's necessarily anything wrong with what you're pruning out. And that's what we're talking about. Right. It's good, but not best. And so sometimes we've got to determine, what's good, but not best. And that too has to be pruned.
I'm going to have to write that down myself. That was a writer down of there. What is good is not always best.
Right. And so we have to prune because we're talking about growing. We're talking about all the things that we've been called for, that we've been destined to. And so the first thing we have to look at is we've got to cut away and prune what is good, but not best. Now, the second thing is the gardener, and this is the analogy that Dr. Cloud uses in the book in terms of pruning, and he applies this to life and business, is you also prune sick branches that are
Oh,
not going to get well. Ha!
Lord.
6 branches. I know you're getting another revelation over there, girl. I know. 6 branches that are not going to get well. So you have to make a determination.
Yeah.
What is not going to get well. And we're going to be talking about some of that next week when we talk about the difference between hoping and wishing and making that decision. But come on, Dr. Stephanie, what revelation you got on that?
Oh, Jesus Christ. How long we got? How long we got?
I know. I told you, it goes fast. Girl, we almost at 7:40.
Yeah. And that is something that is so powerful to recognize, that you have to cut away the sick parts of your life.
Yes.
Sometimes it's people. Sometimes it is your thoughts, your beliefs.
That's it.
You got stinking thinking, as my coach used to say. She said thinking, but I'm from Mississippi. I say stinking thinking.
I love it.
But that is something that I'll say, if I've not learned anything, in the past 2 years, one of the most liberating revelations that I've had is that I am not responsible for the sick things of the world.
Ooh, come on and break it down.
I'm a doctor.
Yes, you are.
I'm a doctor of philosophy. I ain't no MD, right?
Yes.
So it is not my responsibility to heal other grown folks. I have to heal myself.
Yes.
And when I do that, it enables me to be a blessing to other people. It enables me to be an example for others who may need healing. But I don't have to heal another human being. And this is something that, I have struggled with in my romantic relationships. I struggled with in my marriage. And I don't say this I'm always very careful, when I speak of my ex-husband. He is a great man. He's a good man. He wasn't good for me. We weren't good for each other. So I do not mean to suggest that he was sick.
Yes.
Simply that we were not good for each other. But there were things about him that I was trying to fix for many years.
Right.
That's just who he is.
Yes.
And so I carried that into, the relationships I've had since then, just dating,
Yes.
And one of the things that, I truly had a revelation about is, even though I'm a coach and one of my skills is refining the potential in my clients, if they're not paying me, I ain't got to work with their potential.
Yes. You freed yourself from some of that responsibility that you were carrying. So that was a necessary ending for you to have that weight lifted. And so many of us that are listening here as women, we do that a lot. I said, there's only one great physician, okay? and it is not me. And we carry and we hold on to things like that that keep us when we have to prune that. But we have to be awakened to that. That's what all of this is about. When we become awakened and when we wake up and we begin to see it and we have that awakening and that revelation. When we know better, we what?
Do better or should.
Come on, or should do better. Come on now.
Or should.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Are y'all tracking us here in the feed? I'm going to go and see who's talking to us. Thank you guys again for joining us. I want you to share this video. This is I tell you, Dr. Stephanie, and I'm telling you guys that are listening, I could literally talk about this for weeks. I mean, seriously, because it's so much good transforming things for us. So I might do a Necessary Endings Part 2 sometime, Dr. Stephanie. And I'm going to have you back on because it was some life-changing things that I read in this book. But I want to thank Jennifer Timmon for being on. Thank you so much, Jennifer. She said, we must prune in order to propel. That is correct. Coco said your quote, Dr. Stephanie. She said, not all good people are good for you. You got that right, Coco. Thank you. And Laura said the same. Not all good people are good for you. Thank you, Laura Harvey. Thank you guys for sticking with us And Miss Sophie Simon, thank you, Sophie, for joining us. She said, yes, so many want your time and advice, but don't do nothing with it. Amen, amen, amen. Oh God. Well, and I'm gonna move on to number 3 because girl, it's almost 7:45.
I know.
Oh my God. And the gardener, and we're talking about the gardener who is doing the pruning and how he or she chooses to prune this rose bush. The third one is dead branches, Dr. Stephanie, that are taking up space needed for the healthy ones to thrive. Go on and talk about it. Go on.
Oh, Lord. I mean, this is something that, we truly have to love ourselves enough. I'm going to be dead serious.
That's good, girl.
No pun intended.
That's good.
I'm going to be dead serious. We have to love ourselves enough to sever ties with people, things, beliefs, actions, behaviors that are literally sucking us dry.
Yes. Yes.
Because we are voluntarily allowing leeches to just suck the life out of us. There's
that word again, voluntarily.
Yes, voluntary, and I use that purposely. Voluntary. Yes. It's like me, all you gotta go, it's not even something you have to get surgically removed. We got little leeches that literally all we got to do is pluck them off, and we won't do it.
Yes.
Because we are I love the concept of what is a symbiotic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
A symbiotic relationship is where you have two organisms that are dependent upon each other, and they both feed off of each other.
Yes.
And we've got to stop feeding off of the misery, the suffering, the story, our sad story.
Yes.
Pluck that joker off.
Yes.
I almost gave half the peace sign there. Pluck that joker off. Pluck that joker off and move on to the testimony, because it is a responsibility. It is an act of self-love.
Yes.
To disconnect from people, things, relationships, businesses, behaviors, actions. Sometimes it's stuff we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
Talk. I as a coach, I'm on here talking about letting the dead things go. I have to do the same thing with myself, and to stop allowing my doubts, my fears, to speak negativity into my own life.
That's right.
And that's something that we have to, again, love ourselves enough to just cut that dead stuff off. That is, because dead things, if you think about it, when you think about decomposing organisms, right?
Yeah.
They stink.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They stink and they invite bacteria and viruses and all this nasty stuff. I ain't gonna get all gross, but if you think about it, if you had a literal dead body sitting next to you, you're not gonna leave that dead body. You're not gonna sit there. I know you smell that. I know you do, right? And we're doing that in so many things when we have these dead things, these dead relationships.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think about my marriage. It was dead long before it died.
Absolutely.
But I was trying to revive life into it. And again, it's not because he was a bad person. It just
Yep. You just had to get to the end of that. And really recognize some things and be able to move on. And I think that that's so much of what we all have to do. That's what this book is about. And that's what we're doing tonight, to raise some awareness, to have a conversation around it, to provoke and awaken something within you to make some changes. So I want to ask you, what are some things that you need to cut off? What are some things that, like Dr. Stephanie says, the sucking, the life out of you that you need to just click off of you. And as we talked about today about pruning, what are some of those things that you need to prune? What are some things that are good but not best for you?
Yes.
What are some of the things that are sick and they're not going to get any better? And we'll talk about next week, how to determine if it's going to get any better. If you can continue to keep on, hoping, and continue to hold on to hope, or if it's just a wish and you need to let it go and wake up from that. Or is it just dead branches that are taking up space? Like Dr. Stephanie said, you have a dead body, that you are connecting to and carrying around, and it's stinking, and you probably just got used to the smell. But, you need to take it around somebody else to tell you that is stinking, and you've got to do something with it. So I tell you, this has been phenomenal. And like I said, we could go on and on and on, but we want to go on and help you and provide support for you. And I've got some opportunities that I want to share with you. But before I do that, I want Dr. Stephanie to share with you how to connect with her. She's the founder of the C-Suite Network. Is that right, Dr. Stephanie?
That is right.
And so I want her, if you want to connect with Dr. Stephanie and have some time with her, I want her to tell you how you can reach her and get in contact with her.
Yes. Well, of course, I am Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes, CEO of C-Suite Women's Network, where I help women to be the CEOs of their lives. And you can find me, it's real easy, it's my name, drstephaniedbarnes.com. But I also have something I wanted to share with you. I have a new book that's scheduled for release in September.
Ooh, congratulations!
Yes.
Give her a hand clap in the feed. Go ahead.
Yes. And it's on this theme. It's called Deciding on Joy: My Journey from Breakup to Breakthrough in 30 Days. Awesome. And it is a story, but it is a coaching story. But it is truly about the transformation, the decision, deciding on joy. So you can go to www.decidingonjoy.com, decidingonjoy.com, and you can sign up to get some free chapters. So again, that's decidingonjoy.com. And I'm going to talk about letting the dead things go, moving from breakup to breakthrough. So I would love to share the free chapters that I have right now for the book, Deciding on Joy, that is scheduled for release in September of this year.
I can't wait to purchase it. And I certainly want to have you back on the show, and we can talk more about that and just continue to glean from your wisdom and your nuggets. And I just celebrate you, Dr. Stephanie, for your journey. I celebrate, you for your victory and all that you have overcome and all that is awaiting and that's in store for you as you
receive it
through this winter season, and to your next. You said something about did you say a process of
spring always follows winter?
Yes. Yes.
Spring always follows winter, and spring is the promise of renewal.
Yeah.
That's what you have to look forward to.
Yeah.
When you're in a winter, when you're in that pruning season, know that at the end of that pruning, at the end of those actions, there is the promise of renewal, rebirth, transformation.
Oh, that is so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Stephanie, for joining us. Blessings to you and peace to you. And we'll be seeing each other somewhere.
Yes,
together.
We will.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Stephanie. I'll see you the next time.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, guys, that was phenomenal. And Dr. I don't know how you're going to end, but if you want to stay, you can. But that was phenomenal. And I'm so glad that you all joined in. And thank you, Coco, for putting Deciding on Joy in the feed. Thank you, Sophie Simon. She said, oh my, I dreamt about leashes on me last night. It was meant for me to watch this live. That blesses me so much to hear that, because these lives are all about you. Those of you that tune in, those of you that are finding value from these lives, I'm doing this, and we're doing this for you, because we want to see you grow. We want to see you meet your destiny and your call. And so because of that, we at Wake Up, Rise Up, Live Up, we have created something very special just for you. As you guys know, I'm a life coach. I work with certified life coaches and executive coaches. We're all together through Wake Up, Rise Up, Live Up, designed to help you to move to your next. So if you are interested in learning about what it is that I have to offer, I would love to take some time. I would love to provide a one-on-one coaching session with you and share more. So let me give you a number where you can reach me. So give me 1 second and I'll get that for you. If you can just call area code 678-631-9218 and just leave your first name and your last name and your best contact number, and someone will return your call and we'll talk with you about the solution that we have for you. Again, that number is 678-631-9218. So next week, I want you to join us when my co-host Angel Townsend will be back, and we will be continuing this discussion on necessary endings, the employees, the businesses, the relationships that we all have to give up in order to move forward. We're going to be talking about the difference between hoping and wishing. That's going to be powerful, and it's going to help you to determine how and what to let go of, how to know what to let go of. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you guys. Let me see, before I leave out, let me see if there's any more shout outs for you. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Dr. Stephanie Barnes. She's just saying thank you so much for having me. It is truly powerful to let dead things go. Yes, it is. And thank you, Coco, for putting that in the feed. So again, reach out to me at 678-631-9218, and we'll talk about the program that I have to offer. So God bless you. I love you. Look forward to seeing you next week. Invite somebody next week. So take care. See you then. Bye-bye. Good night.